Okay.
Okay, let me get my VS Code and let me clear all of this. I'm going to create a new folder here. Let me call it, permit me to call it Oluchi. Okay, so my desktop, I'm going to go into my VS Code and open that folder. Open folder. Let me locate it on my desktop. Oluchi. Open. Okay, this is the folder. I have nothing open again. So we're going to go over the what we're doing last class, what Mr. Skyline did, which is about buttons, and the other one which is about the home page. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the buttons page. So I'm going to create a file here. I believe you already know how to create a file, so I'm going to click on this and let me just call it buttons page dot html, since it's the HTML page. Enter. Okay, this is it, and we're going to do everything using external CSS. So under this same folder, let me create my CSS. I can just right click on it, on this empty space, and take new file and take buttons page dot css, right?
Okay.
That is my CSS. Now these two are on the same folder. For example, if I go to my Oluchi folder out of my VS Code and open it, you see the two here. This is for the HTML and this is for the CSS. They are just on the same um, directory. So it is
This thing, did you put buttons dot page dot html?
buttons minus page.html and buttons minus page.css. Is it clear?
Yeah, what must you put that minus there?
No. It's just that if you combine the two of them, buttons page, maybe it will not be readable
Oh,
to us humans.
oh,
So I just
okay.
put buttons minus page so that it looks readable. You know, there are two different words combined together.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but this dot html now must be there. Dot html.
Okay.
Okay. So it is advisable that you make your CSS, all your CSS, to be in a folder, in a particular folder. And if you are doing JavaScript too, they should also be in a particular folder. Your images can also go into a particular folder. So inside this your Oluchi, which is your entire project, we can create a folder and name it styles. Styles are CSS, or you just put it CSS to say all your CSS are going there. So this is a folder now called CSS. I can pull this CSS file I've created into this folder. You understand? Pull it into this folder. So they'll ask me, am I sure I want to move it? Yes. In If you look at it now, it's indented from the normal line to show that it's inside this CSS folder. If I close this folder, you see the CSS is no longer there. That means it's inside this folder. I can open it again to see it and close it. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can still, maybe had it been I created this folder first, I can just come on the folder, right click and take new file. If I'm creating a new file here, it's going to be created in this folder rather than creating CSS then pulling it into the folder. It's still the same thing. Okay, let's go into our code now. I have two files here, the HTML and the CSS. Okay, let me start up with shift 1 and enter. I'm going to change my title to buttons.
Sorry.
Yes.
You click on. Okay, that means for you to get that the initial page, I dot enter. That means if you click on the buttons page dot css, it won't give you, right?
So I didn't come again.
When you started, you click on shift one, right?
Yes.
If I click on the page of button page css and click,
Hello, Mr. Collins. Yes, sir. Sir, sir, I cannot leave now. I'm having an online class. I'm teaching a group of people. Yes. No, he's not here. He's downstairs. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, somebody called me, so that's why. You're asking me a question.
Okay, I'm asking you the question. The second page that is bottom dot page.css. You can't use that control one on it,
No,
right?
no, no. This is the CSS. You don't use that
Okay.
control one. Control one is only on HTML to come up with this HTML default tags.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, HTML default element, it has its way. The body, head, all those structures. You have to come up with those structures. That's why you use that shift one, which is the how do you call that mark? Exclamation mark. Then
Okay.
enter. Okay. So the title will be buttons. So we're going to link our CSS now, our style sheet. CSS are always called style sheet. So let's link it. To link it, it must be in between this head. Anything you don't see on the page, like text, should be in between this head. So find anywhere in between this head and link it. But I prefer link it just after title. So to link it, just type link, and you, since you are linking a CSS, you go down to this CSS here and click on it. Let me undo. I'm going to undo. I'm typing link again. Link. You go down to this CSS and take enter, or you click on it. It's going to complete it for you. That means you are linking a style sheet, and href is actually the location or the name of the style sheet. So where is the name of the style sheet? Let's locate it. Dot slash. You understand? Dot slash. Now dot slash means in the current directory. This is the meaning of dot. In this current directory, look for something. So in this current directory now, which is this, in the current directory, this is it. What do? We enter CSS. We have to enter CSS folder. Then in this CSS folder, we'll see our CSS file. So let's go back. In the current directory, what do? We enter CSS folder. If you can type it actually, and you see it's even showing you, to show you that it is there. If it's not there, you'll not see this CSS under here. So you can actually just say dot slash. You see it here. You select it. You also see the files in it. So this is a file in it, and this is what we are looking for. Select it, and we can save. Control S. I'm going to open this in live server. I'm going to open it in live server. Right click. What is happening to me?
Here, please.
Yes.
From where you can you go back to where you linked? Once you click on that link, how do you connect that bottom page?
Okay, I'm going to delete it now.
Okay.
I'm going to link my style sheet, which is my CSS. I want this my page. This is my HTML page. HTML page is what runs mainly on your browser. Like this thing now, this thing now is an HTML page. This one too is an HTML page. So this is the HTML page, but the style in it now you have to link it. So this is what we want to do. We type link.
Okay.
Link. And what are we linking? We are linking CSS, right?
Yes.
I'm giving us some options here. What to link? But now we are linking CSS, so we can just click on this CSS. Can you see it?
Yes.
If we click on this CSS, it's going to give us almost everything. But the name of the CSS it is suggesting to us is style.css, because maybe that's just a default kind of name. The browser just understands style.css should be CSS. You may as well, you may have named this thing as style.css, but if you name it as style.css, it will not change anything. But maybe someone looking at it, or if you are coming back to look at it a second time, you may not know that this style.css is for this button page.html. But since we named them similarly, you can actually tell that this button page.css is for this button page.html. I don't know if you are getting the point.
Yes.
There's nothing bad in naming it style.css. It's still the same thing. Since we have given it a more specific name, you just have to come here and change the name. You can delete everything in these quotes and put your dot slash so that it can aid you to locate your file. Dot slash is where do we save it? Inside CSS folder. If you look at it, inside CSS folder. So once you put dot slash, it's going to tell you what we have in that page is the CSS folder and the button.html page, which is this. Inside this folder we have CSS folder and the button page.html. So what we need is the CSS folder. We click on CSS folder. It's going to continue. Inside the CSS folder, what do we have? We have buttons page.css, and this is what we are looking for. I click on it, so it's linked properly. I Control S to save. Is it understood?
Yes.
Okay, so let's make sure it is linked properly. If you hover on it, you see follow link. If you click on this follow link, it is supposed to open this button page.css. That's if you hover on it and click on follow link, you're supposed to open it. If it doesn't open it, that means, you see, it has opened it. That means it's not linked properly.
Okay.
So let me run this. I'm going to run this in my live server. Right click and take open with live server. Okay, I'm going to put my pages side by side so that we can be seeing everything we are doing at the same time. Okay, see, there's nothing on our page. What we should have here is just this title. Let me check. We look at it. This is our title, buttons. So buttons are like links. You can style any element on HTML to form anything you want. So if we want to create a button, I don't know, we have not done this yet, but the simplest way to create a button is just to type button. You see button I've typed, right? And I take enter. It's going to give me the opening and the closing of the HTML element. And let me call this button, what do we call this button? Register now. Register now. And let me save. Did you see what happened?
Oh, okay.
That is easy to understand, right? It's straightforward. Button, and what the name of the button is register now. So that is it. This is a button as it is now. If you look at it very well, it's clicking. But this is not what. Yes, I'm recording. Who is that, please?
Murphy.
It's Murphy and Chijoke.
Okay, you're welcome. You're
So
welcome.
please, you have to send this directly, please.
What?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm recording. Okay, like I was saying, this button now, this has not been given to us. I don't know why he didn't give us the, maybe he's hoping to give it to us, but this is a better way to create a button. This is an actual button. If you look at it, the name itself will tell you button and button element close. What you have in the middle is just the name, register now, and look at what it has formed for us, a button, a full-fledged button. So if you want to style this button now, for example, if we are using inline styling, style, let's just say background color red. This is styling, right? I'm sure all of us understand this style. Background color red. Okay, let me save it. Control S. So you look at this now, it's already forming that button. We don't need more stress to form the button he gave us in the assignment. But I'll go through his way. It's just I'm showing you the professional way of doing things.
Okay.
Okay, maybe on this same style, what we can do is we can just say margin. Let me increase the margin top and bottom. Let's just put it to 10 pixel, 10 pixel, and save. Not margin, sorry, padding, because it's inside the button to the border. From the text to the border is what I want to increase, that space. So it's called padding. Control S. So you see it's coming up like a real button. And we can also remove the border. The border is black. We don't really need the border. You can say how do we remove border? Can anybody tell me that?
No idea.
Border equal border should be none. If you don't need anything, border can be 0 pixel. If you don't need anything, you put 0. Margin padding, you don't need it, is 0.
Oh, okay.
You see, I saved and it left. By default, the border is, I think it's 1 pixel or so. That's why you had that black border, that black color. So we can also add what do we call it, color, to change the text, the right top, which is registered now, to text, change it to white. And to change the font color or text color is just to write color and put white. Let me save this, Control S. You see the way it's coming up. So all those attributes we used to add, those CSS values and the properties, we can actually put them here. I'm going to delete this. I know it's crowded, but I'm just showing you the easy way to create a button. Let me remove the CSS in the button. See, look at it. This is a button. Let me save again. It's going to clear it, and that is the button. Is still there. Okay, I'm going to remove all of this. This is just by the way, even though it's very necessary. Let's enter the main thing now. I've saved, so that our page is cleared. Now we're going to enter the main thing, what he said we should do, or how he did it. The first thing he did was to create Facebook link, Facebook button. So he created a button with a link. So a link is a tag, anchor tag. So when you type A and enter, it gives you this. Href means the link where it's going to be linking to. Href, the link where it's going to be linking to. So if you put an hash like this, you put an hash, it's called you have deadened the link. That's what they call it in HTML. You've deadened that, you've killed the link. The link will be there. When you click, it's not going anywhere, but it's working as a link. But when this hash means you click, it's not going anywhere. For now, let's just leave it like this. Let me not put facebook.com here. I'll put it later. And here what we had was join. This is what the user will see. Join Facebook, right? This is what we had. So let me save this, Control S. It's coming up as a link. You can use this link for anything. It may not actually be a button. It can just be a line of text to say click here to visit Facebook, click here to visit my profile, click here to do this. You can that click here, you can write it here, what the user sees. Then what the user will visit after clicking there will be in this hash. And to get that link, if it's not a page on your website, because I can link this to, maybe I have another page called about.html, I can just come here and put about.html. But if it's not a page on your website, you have to get the full link. The full link. For example, this is what he did when we were using meeting, Google Meet on his class. He just came here and copied the link, Control A, Control C, copied and pasted it here, Control S. So if you go to your profile on Obedient Text Space and click on live, let me say live class. Let me just call this live class. I think all of us have seen this button also there. Live class. Look at it. He designed this live class to have the red background and white button color, white text color. So if you click on this thing now, it's going to take you to, look at it, this same class we are in. You see it, it's taking you to this same class we are in. I've gone back. So this is how he designed that. So we are going to change this to a Facebook. Join Facebook, which is what he said. Join Facebook, and the link should be linking to Facebook, maybe facebook.com. If you put a link without this https, I'm not sure, it's not going to work. I've saved. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so this is a link and this is a join Facebook. If I click on this join Facebook, now let's see if it's going to take us to Facebook. I've clicked and you see it's taking us to Facebook. So I'm going to go back. So what is left for us to do now is to design this button. We are going to design this button. Now, let's first of all create another button under here. Let's just copy and paste. Oh no, let's create it. Let's not do copy and paste. Let's create another button for Twitter. Join Twitter. We still put an A tag. A, enter. HTTPS. This is the link to Twitter. HTTPS and twitter.com, and we come here, join Twitter, and I'm going to save. So you look at it, the two links are side by side, and they're appearing side by side because these are inline elements. They are not block elements, they're inline block elements. If they were inline element, that means one of them will occupy the whole line, so the next one will automatically appear under it. Okay, and let's create the third one, which is a join Instagram. We had 3 buttons. Join Instagram. Let's just say A and enter. HTTP. Let me just put an hash there. I can put the link later. And join Instagram and save. We have our 3 links there. There's some error somewhere. Control S. Okay, now we have to style this button separately, and also style this button separately. Now we also have to style our background separately. So let's go to our and make it side by side so that we can, I don't know if it's big enough, but let me hold it this way. Okay, we have to style these buttons and our backgrounds separately. Now if we need to give it a background color, our body, the whole of our body, we need to give it a background color. What we do is we go to our CSS and say body. We are calling the body to style any element in HTML. We have to call the body. We have to write that name of that element. Then we give it the property and value. So now we want to style the body, so we write the element body, and in curly braces, open and close. Whether enter or no enter is the same thing, so let's just take enter so that it makes it neat. Body, we are giving it background color of if you take for example yellow and save, this is what it looks like. But now this is too yellow. Once you come here, just hover over it and you see this palette will come up. You can just select a color. You can also change it here. Just select a color which you think it is best. So let me just select this color. Once you are there, that's it. So if I check what I have there and save, Let me save, Control S, and I check what I have there. See, it is better. The background color is now this. Now let's focus on styling our button. Let's focus on styling our button. Since we have to style all these buttons separately, if we just come here, for example, and say style A, for example, style A, give it let me say background color red. Let me say A, background color. Let me select a Facebook color. It's not actually blue, it's something like this. Okay, and I want to style the first button. We have A here as the element. I call the element in my CSS, and I'm giving it a background color of this. And let me save, Control S. Okay, I've saved. I'm saving, Control S. See what happens. Background color of this. Now it's affecting all our A's, but I don't want it to affect all our A's. I just want it to affect this first A. Which is for Facebook. Twitter has a different color and Instagram has a different color. But what I did here was I called A, and it's affecting all of this. That's because all of these also have A's. So we have to look for a way to differentiate this button and this button and this button by giving it a unique name, so that in our CSS we can instead call that unique name we have given to each button, rather than calling a general name. Let's call it, maybe this is their surname. If you just come here, their surname is A, we just say A. All of them will get that style. But let's give them first name or unique name, so that if you call their unique name, only this one will respond. If you call a unique name for this, only this one will respond. So what we do is we come here and add class. We come here inside this opening tag, we add class, and we want to take enter. It's going to give us this. The general format is class equal to, and the class name should be in quotes. In quotes. The class name should be in quotes. So which name are we calling it? Let's call it first. Okay, let me call it Facebook tag. It's supposed to be a one word. Facebook tag. That is it. I've given it a unique name they call it class Facebook tag. In some places you see the unique name, some people call it ID like this. It still works, but the way you call it here in CSS will be different. I will show you both, but for now let's use class. I've given it a unique name and I've saved, but now nothing will change because I've not told them what this class is doing to this A. I've given it to. I've not told them what the class should be doing. So I'm going to come to my CSS. Let me not remove this A here. Let me add the class. So to select that class now, we put a dot. Dot is called class selector. That means we are calling that class from our HTML. We put a dot and write the class name. What is the class name we gave? The class name was Facebook tag. So come here, dot Facebook minus tag. This minus tag is just a unit. You can put any name here, or you can put anything. This minus I'm putting here is just I want to link these two together. In program, it's not good to link two words together without a hyphen or an underscore. So that's why I'm putting it like that. And I'm going to give it let me give it background color red, for example, and save. See what happens. I've called that Facebook tag only. Where I give that class is what I called this class now, Facebook tag. It only affects this first A element. So once I call it here and give it any styling, it's going to affect only that element. If you look at it, I've given it I gave all my A's background color of blue. But here now, I called a class. A class is more specific. That's why it's going to overwrite this one, even though this one says all the A's should have a background color of blue. But here now, I've given it a more specific name. I can come to a class now where students are many. I say, maybe all of you are in primary 2. Primary 2, stand up. All of you will stand up. But if I point somebody and say, Oluchi, sit down, Oluchi will sit down, but the rest will be standing up. Even though I've said class, primary 2, stand up, but Oluchi will be sitting down because I've called her name to say, Oluchi, sit down. So that is what is happening here. I've called this one specifically, which is more specific, and say, get the color red, the background color red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this background color for all the A tags to be red, then change the background color for Facebook only to have blue. Or let me just change the background color for all the A tags to be green. But it's not going to affect the one for Facebook, because I've given it a specific class and I've given it a specific color too. Green, and save. You see everything has gone to green, but this one is still red because the specificity tells it to remain red. But I'm going to give it the Facebook color now. You can actually come here to get the color for Facebook. Let's say facebook.com, to get the color for any website you need or something. This is Facebook. We can come to this. Let me log out. I want to log out so that we can see. Okay, let's get the color of this button. I'll right click on the button, inspect, then I'll come to this place now, this first pointing arrow here. Once I click here and I click on that button, everything containing that button will come up here. If I still click here and click on maybe this Facebook, I click here and click on this Facebook, everything containing this Facebook will appear here. So that's why this thing is just like a picker. I need this, I click on it, bam, everything containing it will come here. So if you look at it, I've given it a background color of this, a border of none. Border, last time we wanted to remove border, we used border should be 0. You can also use none, like in English, border, none. If you give it 0, it's still the same like none. Okay, if you look at all of this now, these are the stylings to this button. Okay, let's do something. Let's copy all of this styling. Copy, Control C, and let's implement it on our code. Let's just see what happens. Let's give it to our code. Let me go back to our buttons and our code. Okay, I've copied Facebook styling for that button. Let me paste it here. Let's look at it. Okay, let me save it. Control S. You see what happens? That's Facebook styling for that button. But there are other stylings which we may not have seen. That's why, for example, if you look at it, the color is not here. Color white is not here. That's why the text color is still blue and it's still underlined. I'm just pasting this to show you that you can actually go to a website and copy some things there and come with it. But I'm going to remove all of this. I'm leaving this color because this is what we need. Actually, this is what I wanted to go and copy on Facebook. You come here and do what I told you. Click here and click on that, select that button you want to select. You see the background color to be this. This is the hex format. You can copy this and go to your code and use the color there. So if I save my work, Control S, this is the background color. So what next I'm going to do is I'm going to give it I'm going to remove this underline here, this underline. So removing this underline is text decoration. Text decoration should be none. Text decoration should be none. Underline is, if you want to underline the text, it's the same as saying text decoration and you come to underline. You understand? Text decoration, you come to underline. So if you don't want that underline, you don't want any of the text decorations, you can just say text decoration none and save. So you see, the text decoration is no more there, but it's only on Facebook that is not there. We have it here, we have here, because we are targeting only this Facebook join Facebook button because of this our class which we are targeting, and the class is only on this join Facebook button. For example, if we put this class now on this Twitter button, for example, we have the same class here, class Facebook minus tag. So this class now, I've given 2 people that first name, and I'm saving now. See, I just wrote this, I'm saving. See, join Twitter takes the same characteristics or property as join Facebook, because I've given the 2 of them that same unique identity, and in my CSS I've told my CSS that that unique identity carries these decorations. That is why this one is also having, if I give this one to the same unique identity or the same name, it's going to carry it too. So you can write one class and apply it to multiple elements by just calling the class name. Anywhere you want that same decoration or that same styling, just call that class name, like here. Okay, let's finish up with this first one. I'm going to save again. Let's finish up with this. We're styling this button now. Text decoration none, that's what I've removed underline. Text color, color, which is the text color, should be white, and save. It's coming up. Okay, I'm going to do some, I'm going to give a space between this button and this button and this button. Let me for now, I'm on this button, so I can only give a space between this button and this wall, and also a space between this button and this button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it margin. Let me give it margin left and right. Margin left and right. Margin left should be let me give it 20 pixels. Control S, 20 pixels. I can also write okay, let me say I say 2 centimeters cm. Control S. See, this is 2 centimeters from the wall. So it's not always, what if I need maybe 1.9 centimeter? You can still use 1.9, 1.8 centimeter, but most often screen sizes, when you're working with screens, we measure in pixels. Pixels are dots, small dot, just like your pen dots. You are using your pen to put your dots. So if I say 20 pixels, I'm saying 20 pixels. This is centimeters, so everything has gone very far, I think so. If I scroll now, I'll see it. Okay, this is it, 20 centimeter, but I don't need centimeter, I need pixels. So I'm going to change it to pixels. Control S. So this is 20 pixels from the wall. This is just 20 pixels. If I can use point, PT, it's still a unit of measurement. You look at the point is bigger than 20 pixels, little. So let me give it 50 pixels from the wall. Control S. Look at it. This is 50 pixels, and I'll also give it margin right. Of let's just call it 50 pixels too. Control S. So if you look at it, that's giving a margin right. Anything coming close to it must be 50 pixels away. That's why it has shifted it. So let's give it padding. Padding is the inner, this is the border. Let me put a border there so that we can know where the padding is and where the margin starts. Let me give it a border style of maybe solid. Control S. Let me just give it solid black. Now it's solid white, solid black. Okay, this solid black may not go. Let me give it border. It did not go because of I'm saying border style. Black is not a style, but the solid is a style. That's why the black did not come up. So border, I can just say this. Okay, I want us to see where the padding is and where the margin is. These are the margins. I've put a margin here and I've put a margin here. Now let's put padding. Padding is inside anything from the text to the border. So let's say padding, let's just say padding left. Padding left should be, let's give it 20 pixels and save. See, padding left has taken its own. Let's give it padding right. Padding right of still 20 pixels. If you look at it, padding appears inside the button, inside, just before the border. So let's give it padding top and bottom. Padding top, let's give it padding top of maybe 15 pixels, and padding bottom of 15 pixels, and I'm saving. Okay, I want to give margin top. Let me give margin top so that you can shift from that top. Let me just add margin top before his margin top. Let me give margin top of 200 pixels. And now don't forget, I'm targeting only the join Facebook button, so only that join Facebook button will shift. Control S, margin top, it did not shift. Let me see what the issue is. Okay, we can still come to our body. This is our body, and give it a padding top. Let me give it padding top inside. Padding top, and give it 200 pixels. It's going to affect everything. It's supposed to. Control S. So yeah, this is the padding. This is the body actually. Then this is padding. So I like to, from here, I would like to take any question before I continue concerning these codes.
Okay.
You have, I think you have your phone and your laptop connected.
Yes, I'm using my phone to admit.
Okay. What you should do is mute your phone and also mute the speaker. Mute your phone, the mic and the speaker on the one you are not using. Okay. Hello? Yeah? Are they on class? But I go try text you now, but they're on class.
Is it the same thing? No, right? That's
Sorry,
line 10.
sorry. 10. Sorry, ask again. I'm somebody called me somewhere. I didn't have my network. Okay.
Okay, I said line 10.
Line 10.
Where you
Okay.
have Facebook. If you remove that dot, will it still work? No.
No, it will not work because this is a class. This is not a normal element.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you are referring to a class, you must use this dot. And if you are referring to an ID, I showed you how to use an ID, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do we use an ID here? Let's change this to an ID. How do we change it to an ID?
You type, right?
Yes.
You type ID.
Okay. ID equal to the same thing, right? I'll save. Look at what is going to happen. This thing is going to disappear from here. This thing, all the formatting is going to leave. I'm saving. Control S. You see what happens?
Oh, okay.
That is because our CSS doesn't supply this Facebook tag with the necessary styling, because it doesn't see it as an ID. We are telling it here as a class. This is a class selector, so we have to use the ID selector because we are using an ID here. I don't know if you get the point.
Yeah. Yes.
So an ID selector is just a hash like this. Since we are using an ID here, ID equal to this. So in the CSS, we use an ID selector. And if I save Control S, it should come as normal.
Okay. So at what point where you have that Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, right? At
Yes.
what point do you put this and it's not on the same line? Because I can see yours is on the same line.
Okay, well, here on this page,
Yes.
okay. At what point?
Like you put number 13, 14, 15 different lines, but they're on the same line on the Go Live.
Okay. Like I told you, with HTML, I've been saying this. HTML, whether you give spaces or you don't give space, it doesn't change anything. Like for example, I give multiple spaces. You understand it as one space. You combine everything to one space. Let me save. Nothing changes.
Oh, okay.
You understand? But actually, I did not give any space. That is how it was before. Let me. Okay, this is how it was before. I did not give any space just because my browser, this thing is smaller.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So it's just rolling it, wrapping it for me. But even if you give spaces, HTML sees all your spaces as one. So you just combine everything to one space.
Okay. Murphy and Chibuike, any question?
Anybody has any question?
Not really. We are following.
No question.
Okay.
Okay.
No, for now.
Okay, so let me continue. I've changed this thing back to class. Let me not use ID because Mr. Skyline did not use ID, but I'm showing you that ID works anywhere you see it too. It's the same as class, but the selectors will be different. Now I've put dots here because it's class and it's not a normal HTML element. That's why I'm putting a dot. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to remove this border. We don't need this border on this place because Facebook doesn't have that border. So to remove a border is just border none or border 0. Border none and save is out. Now it looks more like Facebook button, right? What we are going to do is we are going to increase the text size. Let's increase the text size, and to increase it is called font size. Let's give it 25 pixels. Control S. Yeah, it's somehow bigger now, but let's make it 20 pixels. Okay, and let's change this text, how do they call it, some people call it font face, font type, some people call it font face. This may be Calibri, maybe New Time Romance. Let's change it to something different. It's called font family. Let's actually look at the one Facebook is using. Let's look at the one Facebook is using. If we can see somewhere, we are supposed to see a font family. This is the CSS for this is it size. This is the CSS for Facebook. So they may have some CSS hidden, but let's check if we see. Okay, I've seen a font family here. I'm seeing this Helvetica Arial Sans Serif. Okay, let me check if I have it. You may not have all of them, but sometimes very soon we'll learn how to get fonts from online. Even if you don't have it, you get it from online. Font family.
Excuse me, Terence. Can't you just copy and paste just like the other time?
Just like, okay, you mean like copying the
Yeah.
I can, but I wanted to check if I have it on my system.
Okay.
Like I told you, there's a font type called Amsterdam 1, for example. Amsterdam 1, but you see I don't have it.
Well,
Hello bro, Alpha.
Sorry.
Good evening. How are your side now?
Yeah. Um,
Shey na that you never bring am and you know say me myself I don't forget to even call am about am since that time. You never bring am you never bring am. I don't even
the
forget
Facebook
as I
page.
dey tell you I don't forget. Make I'll
What?
call am I'll call am this evening after this call now. I don class. No vex. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Can you
we
see
can
my
hear
screen?
you. Yeah, we
No, we
can see
can't.
you.
I
Can you
can't.
see my
Yeah, I
screen?
can see it. Not just this. Not just this.
Can you see my screen?
Okay. Okay, we can see
I can't
your
see
screen. Yeah, we can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can share again. I don't know what's happening, but I got a call, so okay, we were here.
Yeah.
Okay, we were here. So what I was saying is, for example, this is a font name, a font style name, but we don't have it on our system. But there's how we can get it from online and use it here. But you said, can I not just type it? For example, if I type it, I assuming Facebook is using this Amsterdam one, and I type it, I don't have it on my system. That
I
means
said,
it's
can
not
you
going
not
to
just
work. Can I
for
not
that
copy
copy and paste? Yeah.
from here?
Yes, just like you did the other time.
I can.
Okay.
But
Okay.
since it's cancelled, I don't know why I can. Okay, I can actually. This is it. But what if I don't have it? What happens?
Okay.
So
Okay.
why?
That means even if you copy, if it's not here in your own,
Yes, yes,
what do
yes.
you call it?
There's a place on your system where you can add fonts. For example, I'm a
Then copy.
graphic designer. I can download fonts which I think I like. Go to my system and paste those
Okay.
fonts. Such that if I'm on my
Okay.
Microsoft Word and I click on font type, that font, I'll see the different type of fonts.
Okay.
Let me see something. Okay, this is not Windows, so it's difficult to locate here. But on Windows one, if you type fonts, you'll see it.
Okay.
Okay. So what Facebook is using is, I saw it as this is it. Arial sans serif. I think we have that. If I just type, this is it. That is, I've not saved. I want to come here so that if I save, we'll see how it changes. This is what Facebook is using, and this actually means it's going to be using this actually. But if this is not available, it will switch to this. If this is not available,
Okay.
switch to that's the meaning of this comma, this comma, this comma, this. But with Facebook, this is the first font it has. Control X. This one I just cut now. I'm going to put it as the first one, so that it should first of all try that before switching in case it wants to switch. This is something like this. So I'm going to save now. Control S. You see how it changed. You see how it changed. Let's assume I'm removing. Let me remove this. Control X, and I'm going to save. Control S. Now these fonts may just be similar, but it has changed. Undo. Let me remove these two fonts. Control X, and I'm going to save. Control S. These two, the fonts may just be similar. That's why they said if this one is not available, switch to this. If this is not available, switch to this. They are just similar, but they are different. They may be different, but they are just similar. That's why if I remove this or remove this, it's still showing me almost the same thing. If I change this font, let me copy this. Control X. Change this font to New Time Roman, which we are all familiar with, and take save. See how it changed. So what they are telling us is new time romance is similar to times. It's also similar to serif. If this one is not available, it's going to switch to this, and they're almost the same thing. So let me go back to the font which we copied from Facebook, which is this, and save. So with this now, I'm going to make this text a little bit bold because it's not bold, and Facebook has its own bold. So it's font weight. To make it bold is font weight, which will be let me put it bold. Font weight bold. Control S is bold. And the last thing we are going to do is border radius. Look at these sharp edges. Facebook doesn't have that sharp edges. If you look at it, it's somehow rounded. So if you want to see the same value Facebook is using, you can actually scroll and check where you see border radius. Let me see if I can do a find. Border radius. I don't think find actually works. I wanted to see if I can do a find to locate it at once. But let me. Okay, this is border radius 6 pixels. I hope you can see it. Border radius 6 pixels. So let me go to my code. I'm going to my code just to implement that exactly as it is. So you can actually copy a website like this. Control V to paste, and border radius is 6 pixels. Let me save. So if you look at it, that is Facebook's button. That is how Facebook button looks like. So I don't know if there's any question on this button before we go to something. We go to another button.
Please, I want to ask a question. When you went to Facebook, right?
Yes.
What did you click for those things to come out?
Okay. I'm going to close it. This is Facebook. I want to get the properties of this button. I'm going to right click on it, take inspect element, then
Okay.
it's out. Let's say for example I want to check what this consists of now. I'm not going to close this and then right click on this again. Let me just come here, click and select it. See, it's even giving me all those borders, all those things.
Okay.
You understand? Once you click on it, it's going to give you the styling of that.
Okay.
And if you click on this compute, it's going to tell you what border it's using and all those things. So I'm going to come back to my work. Okay, we are done with that button. It's many these buttons. So what we can do is, if you look at what the assignment looks like, all the buttons are almost the same thing. It's just the colors, right? So we are going to come to this button now to style it. This Twitter, to style it, we are going to give it a class different from this one. Okay, see what we have done on Facebook. Now let's give this second button, which is Twitter button, this same class. Let's see what happens. Class Facebook tag, and let me save. Control S. See what happens. Did you see it? It takes all those styling we've given to that class of Facebook tag. So if we are giving this class of Facebook tag to anything, it's going to take that same styling. But this is not what we want. Let's give it another tag called Twitter tag. Twitter tag. Control S. See, it has gone back to how it was because Twitter tag, we've not actually given it any style. So we go to our CSS, and under our CSS, under the former one, we start another one, dot, for class selector and Twitter tag. If you make an error on typing this, it's not going to show even everything is correct. Twitter tag. Just don't make an error in typing this. Okay, we are back to where we were. So what I'm going to do is the same thing like writing all of this, but changing the color. So I can just copy all of this, paste it here. Undo. What am I doing? You can just copy all of this, paste it there. Then we have to change the color to Twitter's color, right? I'm putting it under Twitter tag. So color, the background color is for Facebook color. So we are going to change it to, let me just change it to green first. Green. Somebody, it looks like somebody is trying to talk, but the network is not giving it. Okay, I've changed the button background color to green. Let me save. Control S. So look at it. I think I should ask, somebody should ask me a question if there is, before we continue on what I have just done. If there is no question, then we continue, but I think there should, maybe there is a question.
No, no
No,
question
no
for now.
question for now.
Okay, so it's clear, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what I have done is I copied those same characteristics or styles we gave to Facebook. Those same styles we gave to Facebook, and I gave it to Twitter, but I just changed the background color to green. I can actually change any other thing, but I think all the buttons are almost the same, so no need to change
Mr.
any
Terence,
other thing.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's looking as it's looking like
What?
it's looking as if they're not of the same way.
No, they are the same. It's just because the text we have here is bigger than, it's longer
Okay.
than the text we have here. That's why this one is extending.
Okay.
So even if you write a long paragraph inside this button, it's going to accommodate it. The button is going to expand because what we gave it is a border 20 or is it border 50, border 20 and 15. So that border must be there no matter the size of the text.
Okay.
So let's look for Twitter color to put on this button. Twitter.com. I'm sure we all know where they have changed Twitter sign to an X. This is the new Twitter sign now. I'm sure we all know that. It's no longer a bird. So I'm going to right click on this and take inspect element. And the color. This is the color. Control C. This one is in RGB. The other one was in hex, but it doesn't mean you cannot change this color to, no, this is not the color. This is 255, 255, 255, which is white. 255, 255, 255, RGB. The first color is red, green, blue. And if you put all of them to the fullest, it's going to form white. And the fullest, the highest is 255 for red, 255 for green, 255 for blue. If you put 000, it's going to be black. So that is not the color. Let's go to that button. I click here and I switch. I scroll down. Let's look for that color.
Terence, I think I saw something like color. Hello, Terence.
Yeah, I'm going up. I'm going back
Okay,
there.
yeah, I think. Yeah.
Is it this?
Yes, this one.
Yeah, I saw this one too, but I don't. This the color is black here. If you look at it, 000, then this is the very soon.
Yeah,
Then this
I
one,
can
this
see
is
it.
the alpha. This is the alpha. But if I can't just get it there, I can as well type it. Twitter button color. They should give me somewhere. Future button color. Okay, they've given me something. They've given me this in hex. So let me try it.
Okay.
Control C, copy. And I'm going to change it. Let me go back to my code first. I'm looking for my code. I think I've closed it. Let me open it again. Okay. Okay, let me put the color now. The color I copied, Control V, and this. Let me save. So it now looks like Twitter button,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that is the only thing we should do on that. For Instagram too, it's still a button, and they didn't give us any specific dimension, maybe specific padding or something. But what we know is we can just copy the same formatting and change the color to look like Twitter color. So what we can do is to look like Instagram. Sorry. What we can do is we should go back to our tag and give it a class name so that we can target it specifically. So class Insta, let me just call it Insta tag, Control S to save, and I come to my CSS and define that class, what that class will do. Dot Insta tag, and I'm going to paste this same code there, this same styling there. Control V, Control S. So you see this join Instagram has taken the same color with Twitter, because I used the same color for this, the same styling for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me just hover on this, select a red color like that of Instagram, something like this. Don't know, but or let me see. I can actually change my colors here. Let me use this. Let me just look at it like this and save. Control S. So let's just leave it like this. Is it okay like this? It looks like Instagram, right?
Okay. Can't we search for the actual color online?
I tried searching for that color, but Instagram mainly has, let me see if I can get it again. Let's see, Instagram.com. Instagram doesn't even have that as its button. It has it on its logo, for example. All those images, they used it to design their images. Yes. Okay, you can see it here. Let's take this, inspect, and the color. No, this is black. It's not giving it. I tried. Most often they have it on their. Most of it they have it on their images, and if you want to get the color for the images, you have to take it to a graphic design software. So let's just leave it like this. But we are not done yet. We are finished designing the button, quite alright. But he did something different. He centered this. He centered all of this using a div. So we are going to see how the div will work now. Okay, but before we go there, there's one thing I want us to do. If you look at these two codes now, if you look at all these codes, you see that there are so many similarities in them. So many. The major difference we're having here is, I think, it's just the color. Color, right? So what we can do is we can copy, let's say we copy this thing and put on the general A tag. What if we copy all of this? Control C, or let me say Control X, and use it on the general A tag. That's all the A tags should have. Control V, Control S. All the A tags should have this. Then when we come to Facebook, let me remove this color here. I'm going to remove this color, Control X, this background color, Control X, Control S. You can see. So when we come to Facebook, that the Facebook tag, we give it a color, a background color of this, and save. We come to Twitter, remove everything, Control S. It's still going to have something because we've said all our A tags should have all this styling.
Okay.
But now, what we are going to do to this Twitter to make it separate is we are going to give it a background color of blue. Control S. On this A tag, we've already given it border, padding, everything.
Everything.
Everything. So what we are doing now is just all those things which are different in the buttons, we are giving them separately. So we can actually remove every other thing here and save. So you see, it's still the same thing, but I've just written this only once because it's a general something. It's applicable to all the buttons, except maybe on this other button you want to give it a specific border or a specific padding different from these other ones. Then you can come inside it now and put a specific padding or a specific anything you want. Maybe on this one we want to give it a border radius of, or let's just say we want to make it round or something, border radius of maybe let's say 40 pixels. See how it is now. It's very different from these other ones. So if all of them have separate border radius, you can just come here and put border radius separately, then remove it from here. So I'm going to do it, remove this. So this is just a way to simplify your code. If somebody sees your code now, the person will know all the A tags have this. But specifically where you have this class, you are differentiating it by using this color. And when you have this class, it's just making it simple.
It looks more simple now.
Yes, it looks more simple. This is how I did my own. All the A tags, anything which is almost this, which should be the same, I used under A. But when I came to the tags specifically, if there's anything which is different from the other one, I will give it now here, specify it here. So we're going to use div. I don't know if there's any question before I go to div. I'm going to put all of these buttons in a div and put it in the center. Any question?
None for now.
Okay, I'm going to put all of this in a div. A div is, what is a div? A div is just a container. It's just an envelope, no styling, nothing at all. It's just like an envelope that will house naira notes of 1,000, and you get another envelope that will house naira notes of 500s. So a div is just a container to say, okay, keep these things together, but it's not giving it any styling at all. You are the one to come now to that envelope and write on the envelope, say, envelope, you are going to this, or you go to the envelope and paint it red. You write the envelope, you contain this, you this. You are the one to do that. But normally the envelopes are all white. They are just there to hold those things together. So let's go to div. Let's put all of this in a div. So I'm going to put the div tag here. I'm just writing div. Enter. So I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to cut it, Control X. I'll put it inside the div. Now I've pasted inside the div. So nothing will change. Let me save it, Control S. Nothing will change. Like I told you, a div doesn't do anything. It's just like a container that holds something. Now there's a way of coding. If an element is coming inside another element, it's always good to indent it. It makes it look neat and people understand it better. It makes it look neat. If somebody is looking at your code, the person will know, oh, all these A's are inside the div. It just makes it look neat. It doesn't do any other thing, just for the humans to read it very well. If you look at it now, it looks good. This one is coming inside body, and this one is coming inside this. It looks professional too. So what I want to do with this div now is, this div is just like a container containing all our buttons. Like you can see here, just a container containing all our buttons. Let me look at this. If I'm making it smaller, you see the way everything is just scattered. That's because we are not following the right way of coding. That's why everything is not responsive. That's why I was telling you that you need to learn more than what we are teaching here or what Mr. Skyline is teaching, so that your design can be responsive. It can work on mobile phones. Now, if you open this thing on mobile phone, this is how it's going to crumble. It's going to look like this on mobile phone, and it doesn't look okay. It doesn't look okay at all. So there's way. If you are used to coding, you keep coding. You know ways you can use to make your designs more responsive. I hope you know what I mean by being responsive.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to open this again. So let's just finish with the design, then bit by bit we can know how we can make it more responsive. But for now, this is just the buttons we are asked to create, and the div is something covering. Let me show control window. The div now, the div I've put now is something like this, but you cannot see it. It's just something like this. Just say it's a box like this covering this. I can't really tell the size now, but the size can just be very close to it like this, because we've not given it any height and we've not given it any width, but it's going to for sure encompass all the buttons like this. This is how that div we have put now. This is how it looks like. Let me inspect this thing so that we know. Let me close this and let's inspect it. I've put a div. Let's inspect it. Body is inside the body, and you can see our div there. You can see our div. This is our div. This is our div. Now, this is our div. Let me close it. If I come to this pointer and go to our div, you see our div is just covering the buttons like this. It's just occupying, it's just showing that the div contains the buttons, especially in this case the tags, the A tags, because the div, actually the A tags are inside the div. If you go to our code, you see that the A tags is what are inside the div, and the A tag contains this text. That's why I was just highlighting these middles. Okay, so what we need to do now is to style this div. It's not always me. I don't like to just go to my code now and say I want to style this div. I just come here and say, okay, I take div because it's an element. I say div and start styling. It's going to work. But if I have more than one div, I hope you understand what will happen. This div now, I can just come here and say background color. Background, for example, background color. Background color should be, let's say, white. Control S. You see the div. I'm giving it a background color of white. You see the div. They're giving it a background color of white. It's not. I don't used to like this. But if I have more than one div, what happens? That means all my divs will have background color of white. But what I want us to do is we have to give it a class. Professional way of coding, everything goes inside a div, and everything will go into a div, and all those divs will have classes. Once you are writing a div, you just write the class, and this is how you'll be able to do it to make it faster. Since you are writing a div and you are going to give it a class, you start with a class dot. In HTML, you are going to put a dot, but it's not going to show at the end. Let's say the class will be Facebook button dot Facebook btn, Facebook btn, and take enter. Look at what happens. It's going to create a div for you and a class, so you can now write inside this thing. Most times people write like this. People code like they can just write this is a text. For example, this is a text. Control S. Look at it there. This is a text. Now you'll be the one to style this div using this class to either form anything you want, whether a button or a link. You can style this to form a link or anything you want. You can style this. So this is what people do so many times when they are coding, and it's actually good, making everything to enter into a container. Then you style the container. So I'm going to remove this. So this div now I'm going to give in a class to be class. Let me call it container. container, Control S. It's not going to change anything. So in my CSS now, I don't want to just call the div like that. Let me use a class for it. The class I give to it, class container, Control S. And you see nothing changes even though I've saved, because the container is of background white. It's actually targeting that same div. But I'm going to remove this background white because this is not what we need. What we need is margin left, margin right, margin top, margin bottom. Before I continue, Control S, I'm going to remove this padding I gave to my body, padding of 200 pixels. That's why this thing was shifted. But I'm going to use that div to do it now. I've removed it. Let me save. I'm going to go to that div because it's my container. I'll give margin top to be 200 pixels. Control S. That's good. Margin left. Okay, I want you to see a difference. I want you to see something now. Margin left of 30, no, 20%. Let me give it 20%, not pixel. Look, you see the difference. Why I'm talking about making something responsive. Margin right 20%. Control S. Okay. Okay, those percentages will be, let me put them maybe 10%, 10, Control S. Okay, now if I've given this 10%, this will always have 10% of the browser space of the browser. Maybe from the wall to this first button will always be 10%. Let's forget about how the buttons are crumbled now, but that's because we didn't align them well based on being responsive. But this 10% will always be 10%. If this thing is getting smaller, the 10% will remain 10% of the actual size of the window. But if we give it pixel, it's not going to be the same. You give it 10 pixel, let me just put it 100 pixel, 100 pixel. It's not going to be the same. Control S. I've given it 100 pixel. Now, you see how pixel changes the layout of this too. See how it is now. See how it is. So it's not going to be the same with percent. So you have to know which one you are using at which time. Now you can actually go into all your A tags. Maybe you go into all your A tags, and let me just do something here. I'm going to remove this. Let me comment it. Anything I want to do, this is new. I just want to show us something. In this, all the A tags, I'm going to add margin top of let's say 30 pixel and margin bottom of 30 pixel. Control S. Okay, it didn't affect anything here. But look at what will happen if I do this. Okay, it has not changed yet. Where was I? Okay, it has not changed. Well, let's not focus on this, because the best way to actually design this is by using a button on its own, like the button tag I showed you before. So what I want to do on this div is giving it we'll give it margin top already. the margin left of this, you can still change it to be maybe 150. This is just for you to see the way as we are changing it is shifting. Let's change it to 200. So this is just for you to align it properly to the center. So I think we are done with this project, this button task. The div is just for us to put it in a container, and we can actually align the div as we want. So this is what we just did here. Margin top, which is 200 from here to here, should be 200. Margin left and the margin right. So I don't know if there's any question before we go to the home page.
Okay, Terence.
Yes.
Okay, before you, in your, what do you call it? In your folder.
Yes.
In your folder, you had just two files.
Yes.
Go back to it. You had just two files.
Yes.
The bottom page CSS and bottom page HTML, right?
Yes.
That's the only thing you need.
No. Wait, let me come. In my folder, this is my folder. This is my folder, Oluchi. In it, I have this button page.html, and I also have a folder called CSS. So it is in this folder. Okay. Yes, there's another folder. It is in this folder that I put my CSS. Okay. I may as well put it outside, but it's still the same thing. It's just for us to create it in a way that will look good.
Okay, and if you don't create it like that, it's difficult for you to do this.
What?
I said, if you don't create all these the style,
files, yes. Yeah. At least you must have the button page.html. Then you can decide now to do inline CSS or internal CSS. That means you are writing your CSS in the same HTML file.
Oh.
That's inside this head.
Okay.
You put your style like this. The style tag. Like this. Then you write your CSS inside here. It's the same thing. But since we don't want our CSS inside the same HTML, then we have to create an external file, which is the external file is saved in this.
Yeah. Because sometimes that creating external file is more difficult.
Say sometime.
I say creating external file is more difficult. It's easier just write inside the thing.
You may just be seeing it as if it's difficult now because maybe you are not really used to it, but it's just like creating another file, and it's better because it keeps your code distinct. CSS will be on its own folder. If you are creating another page now, maybe you have created about page, home page, contact page, you may say all of them should have their own CSS. And the CSS will not be scattered anywhere now. Everything will be in a folder. That's why it's good to create that folder.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question?
I want to ask, is anything like margin center? Nothing like that.
No.
Right?
Nothing like that, right?
No. What do you think margin center will look like?
Instead of adding all these left pixel, this one, just click center. Let it just be on the center.
No. Okay, in that way you just put margin. You don't specify whether left, right, or bottom. Just put margin and give it a value. If you say margin 2 pixel, the whole round will have 2 pixel.
Okay.
It goes for border too, for padding too. You just say padding 2 pixel. The whole round will have 2 pixel padding. But I didn't do it here because I wanted us to actually break it down like this. So at least if we are seeing margin left, we know it's margin left.
No, we're good.
Murphy, are you there?
I've not heard your voice since.
Maybe Murphy is sleeping. Mr. Chijioke, you're welcome. As you not even know you're the one talking.
Here's the one.
Okay. Okay. We are going to the home page now. We're going to the home page task
That's
now.
what you did now. That's
That's
the
what you
first
did now.
assignment
That's
they
the
gave,
first
Abby.
assignment they gave, Abby.
It's not the first assignment. The first assignment was something with yellow background, and we have paragraph and other things. This is the second, and there's a third one.
Okay, this is the second
The first
assignment.
assignment
This
is
is the second
just
assignment.
yes. This one I just did is the second assignment.
Okay.
Is it even the second? Is the assignment from the last class he taught us?
Oh, that's the second
yes.
assignment.
That's the
He gave us
second
two
assignment.
assignments
He
that
gave
day.
us two assignments that day.
There's one from podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's true.
Okay, yeah, it's true.
Yes, those ones are not too complicated. With these things we've done, you can actually do those things
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
You just put in the elements and use border and color, background color. So let's go to the home page. So what I'm going to do is, in this, I'm going to create in this same folder. I can right click and take new file, and let me call it home.html. Then inside this, I'm going to create a CSS for the home page. Let me call it home.css. Now if you look at this, I have two CSS files inside my CSS. That is why it's good to create a folder. And this is home.css, the home.html. So inside my HTML, I'm going to start as usual with this, and I can just call this my home. Okay, I'm going to open this, my live server. Okay, this is it. My button is still here, but this is my home. I'll link both of them together in this project. So the home just had three things. The home is not too difficult. It just had the background, he had an H1, he had a paragraph under the H1, and he had a button. That is all. There's no much thing in it. So we are going to put let's use a div to contain the part. The home looks like this. Let me show you my project, so that we'll see what we are trying to do. Let me open my project so that we'll know what we are trying to do. Project assignment 3 and homepage.html. Okay, let me run a live server. Now this is how it looks like. This is my own work. So we are going to have an H1, which is this. We are going to have a paragraph, which is this, and we are going to have a button. This button is the same styling as what we have done before, nothing different. So you can just copy the CSS and put in the same CSS, then give it the same class as you've done before, then change this text. The button, we have already done that. It's just to put this background color and put this in the center, and we already know how to put a div in the center, which we have done before. We used a div to surround our buttons, and we also put it on the center. So it's the same thing we are going to do here. So this is actually simpler. If you look at this, let me make it smaller. You see that it is responsive. Look at it. You cannot even make it smaller again. It has ended like this, because if you go further again, this one is going to wrap, which I didn't want it that way. So this is how it is. Very responsive. If it's your mobile phone now, this is how you see it. It cannot be smaller than this.
But how did you get the image?
But how did you get the
He
image?
gave us
The image
right?
is, he gave us the image, right?
He went online and got an image, but I couldn't find his image, so I just downloaded any image.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So let me go back to my code and I open this in live server. No, not this. I'm going to close this. Let me go back to where we were working, which is Oluchi. Open. Okay, and we are back. Control S and the live server. Okay, this is what we have. I'm going to minimize this. Okay, so we are back. This is my body. I've created a CSS. Yeah, let's not forget, for this home, the CSS is called home.css. It's inside the CSS. So let's link it before we start doing anything. We come into our head, we say link and take link CSS, and we have to write the name here. The name starting from the path. So take dot slash, you see the CSS here, which is our folder, yes, and we see the home.css, and we also see the other CSS we did before, but we don't need it. We take this, Control S. We have linked it. To know it is working, you have to just hover on it and click follow link. If it opens that same file, yes, it's fine.
Okay, so
What? It's breaking.
can you hear me?
I didn't get it. Yeah, I can hear you now.
So this is like you starting a new project, right?
Yes, this is a new project,
Okay.
and we are creating that home page I showed you now.
Okay, so is this new project more like one of the assignments?
It's still one of the assignments. He gave 2 on his last tutorial. What he taught us last, he gave 2, that buttons, which I did, and this one now is the home page, which I showed you.
Okay, so for the question now, is okay, you are still on one VS.
I'm still on.
On one VS.
Yes.
Okay, and you are doing the both in one VS. So how do you separate them? Separate work if you want to submit
How do I separate?
the works now? Like you are on the VS, you create a new homepage or you know.
Okay.
So
Look at this. Are you seeing this left pane? This left side.
yes,
Let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay. Before, what I had before was, I had inside my Oluchi, I had this CSS folder, which I had just this button page.css, and I also had outside of that CSS folder, but in Oluchi I had button page.html. That's the only thing I had before, which is this file and this file. But now I want to create something else. I created a home.html in Oluchi,
yes,
which is this, and I also created another CSS in the CSS folder, and which is this and this. These other ones are still here, but so long as I'm not calling you here, it doesn't affect anything. So long as it doesn't affect any other thing I'm doing,
okay,
it doesn't.
okay.
For example, I'm here now, I'm on this file.
So by the
What I've done is,
by the time you're
yes,
done with home HTML, that's a page on its own, right?
here's the page on its own.
Okay. By the time
Okay, if I want to separate them,
by the time you're done with it and you want to take out this assignment, submit just this one.
okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. You come to your folder out of VS Code, open it. This is it, right? You create a folder, or you just say copy the home. Maybe you already know what is home and you know what is buttons. You copy the home and you copy its CSS. and you go outside, maybe on your desktop, create another folder, assignment 3 or assignment 4, paste both of them there. And as you are pasting both of them there, you are creating this same folder too, and you are pasting the CSS in this folder, in a folder called CSS. You just need to have this same structure. For example, I've created, let's assume I've finished the 2 projects. Let me separate them now. I'll come to my home page, to my desktop, new folder, and maybe I call it assignment X. Okay, assignment X. Okay, so if you look at the structure of that Oluchi folder, we know that we have a CSS there, new folder, and I
Okay.
put CSS.
Sorry. Me, I'm still at work. That's why I've been breezing in and out. So I need to attend to something.
Okay, so I should.
Maybe the video you drop it.
Okay, so I created that same CSS. So what I will do is I will just come to my Oluchi, copy the HTML, the home.html, or cut anyone. I go to my assignment, I paste it there, then I go back in Oluchi, copy this, go to the CSS and copy the home.css, Control C, and I go back to my assignment, enter CSS and paste it there. That is all. That is all. So this is, I've separated the assignment. Now this one is here and this is still here. I can actually delete it from here, and delete also this one. I can actually delete it from there. So let me open this one now in VS Code. This one, VS Code. So that let's continue from here.
Terence, please, I have a
Yes.
question. Yeah. So what I want to confirm is this, because looking at your VS Code, you created a folder inside the folder. So there is
Yeah.
stable, right? Because
What?
inside Oluchi, I said that means it's possible to create a folder inside a folder because you created CSS, which is a folder also. Inside
Yes.
Oluchi, which is another folder.
Yes, it's possible. You can even do it from VS Code here. You just click here. This is the new folder.
Yeah, I understand. But I was thinking before you can't create another folder inside a folder. You can only create a file inside a folder.
No, you can. You can create
Okay.
as many folders as you wish.
Inside
What
one
should matter
folder.
is when you are linking. Yes, you can. When you are linking a file from that folder, you make sure you go through all those folders upon folders.
Okay,
You don't
okay.
just carry that file and write the name.
Okay.
You must go through all those folders. That's why it's always good to start with /.
Okay.
So you see now I've separated this, what he was asking, and this is this. And if you look at it, it's still the same because we have home here. It's still the same. So what we are doing now is we are going to give a div, but we are giving this div with a class. So let me just start with dot and write the class name. Let me say home text. Let me just call it home text. Home text. And if I take enter, it forms a div automatically. That's it. And in that home text, the first thing we have is an H1. H1 which says welcome to Skyline ICT Consult. Then under it says where something. The one under, I'm going to use a paragraph. Let me just use a paragraph. Where IDS something. Let me check what it's saying. Where ideas are born to reality. I paste it here. Okay, so that's it. Then under, what do I have? A button, right? So the button, we already know how to create a button from our previous class, which was A, and it's going to take us somewhere. Let's just say we don't know where it's taking us. Let's just put hash first, and we are going to say register now. Control S. Let's open this in our browser. Okay, this is how it is. This is how it is. What we should do first is, I think we should put this thing at the center. This div now, we should put it at the center. So we're going to go into our CSS, home.css. That div, we should put it at the center. That div, we have given that div a class, which is home text. So let's call that home text with dot, because it's a class selector, home text. We are going to put it at the center. So we're going to give it a margin top. Giving it a margin top means we are going to shift it from this top down, give it a space up here. So give it a margin top, give it margin left, and also give it a margin right in case. Let's just give it, so like we know it's at the center. So I'm just giving it 4 margins. Margin top of, let's give it 230 pixels. Then margin right, I want to give it in percentage. Margin right of 20%. And the margin left, I can also give it in pixels too, but just feel like I should do something different. Margin left to 20%. Let me. Sorry. I can hear you. Hello? Yeah? Shebi, I tell you, saying a one line now. Oh, yeah, now they come. When you want to call me for WhatsApp, yeah? I they come now. I no go feel leave this. I no go feel leave this. What they do now? They call. I they record.
I think it's network from my side.
Yes, I'm getting so many calls. Sorry.
Okay. Did you hear what? Did you hear my question?
No, I didn't hear you. The network was disturbing.
Okay, I was asking. If we do like margin auto.
Yes, I didn't want to use auto. I didn't want to use auto because, but it's well. Let's do this one, then I will use auto and explain how it works. Let me do Control S since I've put the margins. Put the margin. Let me do Control S to save. You see, it moves it to the center.
Okay.
It moves it to the center. That's to move the whole div to the center, not the elements individually. Okay, now margin left auto, margin right auto. What it does is it will make sure that the left and the right margins are the same. So anything will be in the middle, but the left and the right margin will be the same. That is what it does. So let's try to use it. It will be the same. None of them will be bigger than the other. Auto. And I know when we are using margin left and right, they used to give width of the div. Maybe let's say div width is 700 pixels. You understand? The width now is the width of this div. We have to give it a width, then give it margin left and right. But I'm going to go back to this because I don't want to give a div. I don't want to give a width to my div. If I give a width, it's going to remain that 700 pixel, which I don't want. Okay. So from what I'm saying, we can increase the margin left. Let's make it 30%. Control S. Okay, it looks somewhat in the middle. You can always adjust it the way you want. 33, and I think it's in the middle. So what we should do next is let's give this h1 a color of yellow and a text style, a font family. Let's change the font family to something different. Let's go back to our CSS. Here we may not give a class here because we don't really have other h1s. We can just say h1, give it color yellow. Save. You see it's turning to yellow. You can even increase the size. Font size to 70 pixels. Control S. See how big it is. You can reduce it to 40 pixels. Control S. And we can make it to 45 pixels. Control S. Okay, so let's change the font family. Let's give it this. Control S. So it's cutting now because I've given a margin left and a margin right, and those margins must be met. That's why this one now it's coming down because it doesn't want to enter the margin. So what I can do is this. I can reduce the size of this to maybe 35. The size of the text 35, and it's there. I can come to styling the P. I can come to styling the P, this P. Okay, P. What I'm going to do is put this, or give it text align center and save. It has gone to the center. If it I see it as if it has gone too much, so you can adjust it with margin, or if you wish you may still use margin here to adjust the text. Rather than it has gone back, you can just say margin left and right, just to use margin to adjust it. Margin left to maybe 20 pixels and margin right to maybe still 20 pixels and save. Small. Okay, let's increase it to 100. So most of these things are, you do it, look at it. If it goes well, fine. Let's make it 150 and 150. Control S, and it looks okay. These two, to center this, I would like to put it in a paragraph. This link now, I would like to put this link in a paragraph so that I'll use the normal text align, or well, let me just leave it this way. And style it the same as I style this P. A. Can still give it the same values, but it's not going to be the same align because the text is bigger. Look at it. So I'm still going to increase this one a little to maybe 170 and 170, or maybe 200. You can just be doing this by trial and error. The way it looks good, then it's fine. Okay, let's shrink this one again to maybe 230. And this looks okay. We're going to change this text to something different and this to something different. But now let's style this button. We have styled button before. How do we style the button? You can just come here and copy that same style we gave to button before. What?
So we use
I don't want us to start writing I don't want us to start writing the code. I want us to copy, since we just did it and it's still in this same video. We can just go to our CSS where we have that I think it's here. You can just come here and I want to copy it. Control C. I did not open it with VS Code, that's why I opened like that. Okay, so I'm going to come here and paste it. I'm going to remove these margins because I have given margins already. Okay, let me save it so that we see how it looks like before I remove the margins. Control S. Let me open in live server. Okay, it is here. I think it should be here, but something is white. So this is it. It is white because I've not given it a background. Remember, I used the background on the tags, on the classes. That's why I did not copy the background here. But I'm going to give it a background. Let me give it a background color of red. Control S, so you look at it. So it's one side, so I'm going to let me remove these margins I used where I copied from. It has gone back and I'm going to fix it with my own margins. This was 230. No, let me put it back to 200 and see. Control S, and it looks somewhat okay. Let me put it to 185 pixels, and okay, let me leave it like this for now. All of these styles now were gotten from the previous button we styled. I just copied it and pasted. Since we are styling the A tag, I just copied it and pasted it under A tag, so it's still going to style the A tag on this our page. That's why it is like this. So on this P, I can change the font family to maybe this and save, and font size to something maybe 30 pixels and save. It looks too big. Let me change it to maybe 22 pixels and okay, and it's to the right. Let me remove it there. Let me adjust the margin. It is to the right. Margin left. $120. Control S. 110. Control S. Okay, this looks fine. Let's leave it like this. So what we need now is majorly the background. So we're going to download an image. Let's say pixels.com. This is where you get free images. Web development. Web development. Let's just get any image we see. Let's use this one. I click on it, I right click and open image in new tab, and it's opening in new tab. So this is the image. I'm going to save image as, and let me save it in my project desktop, assignment X. This is where I am, and I'm going to create a folder. I think I should create a folder to save these images. So any image I want to include, I'm going to create a folder outside and call it images. I just want it to be separate from my codes and every other thing. So inside assignment X, I now have images. Inside the images, I'm going to save this. Let me give it a new name, like background. I'm giving a new name to it, background.jpg, and save. Okay, this is the image I have saved. I'm going to go back to my code, and the background, if you check, the background is on the body. So I'm going to go to my code, and I would like to put body as the first thing, because body is actually the first thing of my code. Let me just put body here, body, and to put the background as the image as the background, we use background image URL. We use the image as URL, and you can call the image same as the same /. Now there's a trick here. I want us to see something. I want us to check. Let's check something first before I continue. Look at this thing now. This is where I am. No, this is not where I am. I'm in CSS, right? I'm here. I'm styling from CSS from here. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at something. I'm styling from CSS. So this is where I am, inside the CSS folder. I'm here. So how do I then access a folder? It's not here. It's not the folder I'm accessing is not here. It is one step back. That I have to go one step back. Then enter images folder before getting the image. What we used to do generally or normally was, if we are here in HTML, then we just say /. It will give us every other thing in that same folder, including the file we are working on. But now we are here. I've opened this. What we want to do is, we want to go one step back before seeing the image folder. Then we enter the image folder to get our image. Can anybody suggest?
Difficult to suggest.
Okay, let me go ahead. So we have to go one step back. Look at it very well. We are here in the CSS. This is where we are. We have to go one step back. This is back. Then we enter the images folder. So to go a step back is //. Once you use /, you are telling your terminal or your command line or your VS Code that you should go one step out of that folder you are in. Because if you look at it here, you look at where we are here. I want to go out of this folder. That's back, out of the folder, which is back. I've come out of this folder now. That's why I can see these other folders before I enter this folder. So what we are going to do is we are going to use // That means we are going one step out. So we have gone out now. That's why we can now see that folder we were in. We can see the home and we can see images. I hope it's understood.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
dot
but I
slash.
want to ask,
But
if you
I want to
put,
ask, if you
if
put,
that
if
you now
that
type
you now type
image,
I image
will it still come
IMA,
out?
will it still come out?
Will
What's
the
that?
image save still
Will
come
the
out?
image save still come out?
If I type,
If you type
If you type like
just normal
image,
typing,
just normal typing,
will the image still come
IMA, will
out?
the image still come
here
out?
from here,
Yes.
as
Yes.
I am now, I should type image
Okay.
like this.
Yeah.
No, it will not. It will
Yeah.
never come out.
Okay.
You're not giving. It will only come out if this image folder was located in the same
Uh-huh. Okay.
location or the same
Okay.
directory
Yeah.
as this our
Yeah.
CSS file. But since we are recouping everything under its own folder, to come out from one folder and enter another folder, you must use this dot slash or dot slash.
Okay.
You must make sure you're either leaving a folder or you're entering a folder. So we say dot slash. We have gone out of this folder now because this home.css is located in this folder. Dot slash will go out of this folder. So you are seeing everything in it. But now we want to enter this image folder. So you can just type image there or you click on it. You give you image slash. That means you are entering into the folder. Then inside the folder now you take your background. So I'm not going to save now. Let me put it one side. Then put my code one side. And also I don't like to put this code one side because of how it's going to scatter it. And also let me save it now, Control S. So you see, but look at something. It's what is it doing?
It's double, right?
It's double, right?
Yes, double or repeat. It's repeating it. To fill up the screen, it's repeating it. So we don't want it to repeat. What do? No repeat. Since we don't want it, like we don't want border none. We don't want transformation, text decoration, none. We don't want it to be underlined, text decoration, none. So we are still going to do the same thing here. Background image, no repeat. Background, okay, background repeat, sorry, not background image, background repeat, no repeat. Let me save, Control S. Now if you look at it, it's not repeating, but it's not filling everywhere. So we are going to make it to fill everywhere. So background, let's look at it. What do we have? Background size, we want it to be bigger than this to cover everywhere. So background size will be cover to cover everywhere. So let me save. Excuse. I've saved. If you look at it, it has covered everywhere. Sometimes this background will be, sometimes this background will end here. If the image is not too big, it will end around here, and you draw a line here like this one. So if it draws a line here, that's it ends here and everywhere down is white, you say background attachment. Sometimes when I'm using background like this, I just include all these things in case. Background attachment, and fixed, Control S. But this one is it did not end here, so it's not going to change anything. And also I always include this background position to be center. There are some images you put and they will not be at the center. So let's check if this one is at the center. Background position center. If it's not on the center now, it will be centralized. So let me save. So you see now it's now centralized. That is it. And we can keep styling our text. Let's make this paragraph to be white. It's a P, right? Okay. Can make it to be white. Color white. Color white. And let me save. Okay, it's now white, but it's not really clear, it's not really visible because of our background we chose, but that is not our concern for now. But I would advise you to choose a better background. And I want to give a margin bottom so that this text can give space, as in there will be a space before this button. So let me give a margin bottom. Margin bottom of maybe 40 pixels. Control S. So it shifted but not much. Let me increase it a little to maybe 80 pixels. Pixels are not much. Control S, and it has shifted but too much. Let me give it 70 pixels. Control S, and it's like this now. I think we should change this background because of this, but I'm not going to change this background. I'm going to show you something that will make a background look beautiful. Actually, now we have finished this project. This is what Mr. Skyline did, and this is what we have replicated.
Sorry,
I
please,
think
where
we
did
have
you get this
replicated
image
it.
again? Which website?
Which website?
Pixels.com. You can even go to Google and look for any image you wish.
Okay.
Well, pixels.com. This is what Mr. Skyline did, and this is what he said we should do, which we have done. But there's a good way to do background. I liked. Now it's too bright. If you look at it, it's too bright. There's how you can use a color and put as if you are doing a transparent color on top. As if you are doing a transparent color on top of it. Let me come to the end, just so that that text written there can be more visible. Inside my body, let me give a space before doing that so that we see differently. Background, image, linear gradient, background image, linear gradient. I'm going to hide. Let me comment this out. That's why I told you after Mr. Skyline's class, or after my class, there's still so many things to learn. Background image, linear gradient. This linear gradient, I'm going to give it two values, two colors. Let me just show you, for example, blue and green. For example, blue and green, then out of it I put a comma and I give it my image URL. Control S. Are you seeing what is happening? Background color, background image, I gave it linear gradient blue and green. It's giving blue and green, but now my image is at the back because this, I did not tell these colors to be transparent. I don't know if you get the point. If it is transparent now, my image at the back will show. So I'm going to, let me see. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
I'm going to make these colors now to be transparent so that my image at the back will show. So I've given it blue and green. I'm going to come here to make it transparent. Let me use RGB to make it transparent. I'm going to add a third value here called alpha. I don't know if Mr. Skyline will teach us this, but it's very necessary. You see it in so many designs. This A now is alpha, or opacity. Transparency is called alpha. So it's a fourth value here. It's a fourth value, and maybe let me give it 0.5. It ranges from 0 to 1. So if it's 1, the default value is 1. That's why it is not transparent at all. So if I give it 0.5, it will be half transparent. So I'll do this again, the same. Let me still give it a green, and the other value will be 0.5, and I save. Control S. Can you see what is happening?
Yeah, the color has
Okay.
reduced. It's not that.
Yes, it's now somewhat transparent. So you can
Yeah,
actually play with this to make your work look better. You can actually play with the transparency. For instance, I give 0.5, 0.5. I can make this other one 0.7. The green, I'm making it 0.7. So let me save and you see something. See, it became a little darker. If I give it 1, it's not going to be transparent at all. Let me just give it 1 so that we see. 1.
it's darker
I've
now.
given it 1. It's now very dark. If you look at it here, it's not even transparent. It's just transparent now because it's trying to fade from this transparent color to the other color.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's just to, you can use it to play around with your design. That's why if you look at my project, I gave it a very beautiful background with that. Let me give it something different. You can still give it blue on blue like this. You can still give it blue on blue, and you look at it, it's more beautiful. So with this thing I've done now, this text is now very much visible.
yeah.
So there are so many things you can learn out of the box, out of the class, which are very necessary. So this is the project, the last project, but you can get the picture he used. I did not see the picture, but some people have it.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if
so
there's any
so
question.
this particular one you did now is the last assignment, right? The one you did before now, the
Yes.
Twitter, Facebook, is the second assignment. The first,
He gave
the
the
first
two,
one that you
the two
said
of
that
them
we
in
should
one
copy
class.
from, like something like join the community, something. Like when we
Join
were
the
doing it
community.
yesterday.
I didn't hear the one we were doing yesterday.
Yes, there was one guy that I think it was Fancy that said you should copy, go to web page and copy something. Join
Okay. That is, I can say that's the second assignment because the first one we presented, which
okay.
he didn't do anything about. He gave us 10%, and that was the second one. The one we were doing yesterday, the second one. So the third and fourth now, let me call it third and fourth, but it was in the same class, so we just called the two of them third. Is this one we have done now, the buttons and this
Okay.
background and this
Oh,
home page is the third, both of them.
okay. Okay, no problem. I think I'm good with this lecture now. Let me go and do my assignment and submit. Yeah, I
Okay.
think I'm good to go. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate it. And I enjoyed this lecture, honestly.
Okay. Let me stop recording while we continue talking if there's
Okay.
anything.
Okay.